Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I have 3 meditation books with me today to read, and it is already 7:46 p.m., so it's getting really late, but I wanted to make sure that I got a video up over here. I want to say thank you to all of the new subscribers that have subscribed to my channel and found me because of Christy from Raw Beauty Christy. Christy, she's been so kind to shout me out several times for this channel, and I just want to say I really appreciate it. And for all of you that have been around for a very long time, thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. You know, this channel, it means so much to me because I say this, I think I just said this on here the other day, but for the new people, you know, this is really just what it would be like for me to have a conversation with like my best friend when we were talking about recovery or just life things. And often she and I will read the language of letting go to ourselves, and then we'll talk about it later, you know, as we're driving around, like the reading from that day or whatever. So I just love this channel, and I learn so much from the readings as well, because then I read them and then I get to talk out loud about whatever I learned for that day, and then it kind of, you know, just sets me in motion for the rest of the day to think about the reading that I had, which is why every morning that I get up, I'm really committed to doing, you know, my prayers, my meditations, my gratitude list, my affirmations, and I try to read as many meditations as I can. So, all right, let's get right into this. I think I'm going to go right into the language of letting go today. I don't have my reading glasses. I always forget my reading glasses over here. All right, February 11th. Let's see what it says, if I can ever get to it. February 11th. You know what? I'm actually going to read, because it's divinely led, I'm actually going to read February 10th, because it's letting go of sadness. And I think that sounds like a really good meditation. I don't really, you know, you would think, as many years as I've read this book, that I would know these meditations by heart, but I don't. February 10th, letting go of sadness. A block to joy and love can be unresolved sadness from the past. In the past, we told ourselves many things to deny the pain. It doesn't hurt that much. Maybe if I just wait, things will change. It's no big deal. I can get through this. Maybe if I try to change the other person, I won't have to change myself. We denied that it hurt because we didn't want to feel the pain. Unfinished business doesn't go away. It keeps repeating itself until it gets our attention, until we feed it, deal with it, and heal. That's one lesson we are learning in recovery from codependency and adult children issues. Many of us didn't have the tools, support, or safety we needed to acknowledge and accept pain in our past. It's okay. We're safe now. Slowly, carefully, we can begin to open ourselves up to our feelings. We can begin the process of feeding what we have denied so long, not to blame, not to shame, but to heal ourselves in preparation for a better life. It's okay to cry when we need to cry and feel the sadness many of us have stored within for so long. We can feel and release these feelings. Grief is a cleansing process. It's an acceptance process. It moves us past our past. It moves us from our past into today and into a better future. A future free of sabotaging behaviors. A future that holds more options than our past. God, as I move through this day, let me be open to my feelings. Let me be open to my feelings. Today, help me know that I don't have to either force or repress the healing available to me in recovery. Help me trust that if I am open and available, the healing will happen naturally in a manageable way. Wow. There's like so many things in this that I don't even really know. I don't even really know where to start. One of the things that stood out to me was this quote where it says, unfinished business doesn't go away. It keeps repeating itself until it gets our attention, until we feel it, deal with it, and heal. That's one lesson we are learning in recovery from codependency and adult children issues. And you know, for me, it's very much like the book by Dr. Cherie Scott, that If Life Were a Game, These Are the Rules, where she says in there, you know, that in life there will be lessons, and lessons are repeated until they are learned. And then, you know, and I was talking about this, you guys, this is so weird, because my vlog from last night, I talked about like the greatest lesson I've ever learned, which if you watch these videos over here on a regular basis, you'll already know it. But I go into a lot of depth about the greatest lesson I've ever learned in my life in the last couple years. What was in the last couple years, but probably the greatest lesson I've ever learned in my life. And I can talk more about that over here if you guys would like a committed video to it. But, you know, one of the things that I said was, I think I said it in there, maybe I said it in a cameo, I don't know, was that there something to the effect of, I wasn't ready to learn certain lessons until recently, you know, like I'm such a believer that in the Buddhist saying that, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I don't know that myself as a student, I was ready to learn certain lessons, you know? I think that I had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations before I was ready to learn certain lessons in my life. I don't know that I was open to those lessons. I don't know I was ready to receive those gifts, you know? And lessons really are gifts. I mean, it really makes me sad, I think that when I see people that are so resistant to learning and growing. I don't pay that a lot of attention today because that's attention I'm taking away from myself, but it does make me sad, you know. In the past, I used to get like real riled up with anger and stuff. I talked about this last night. I don't do that today. It just kind of makes me sad, you know, when people are resistant and they're stuck in their need to be right instead of being happy, and I think that it's a huge trade-off, you know. And I think like in this quote where it's talking about letting go of sadness, that unfinished business doesn't go away. You have to work through it. And, you know, I think it's interesting that they reference grieving, or she references grieving in here. Because I think that grieving is a term that we use so often when we've lost somebody in our life, you know, when they've died. But I think that for me, you know, we can grieve the loss of a relationship. We can grieve the changing of a relationship, you know? I know when we started marriage counseling, and we were talking to our marriage counselor, which is, you know, I'm such a huge proponent of marriage counseling. You know, one of the things our marriage counselor said to us is that the marriage that you had when you walked in the door will not be the marriage that you have when you walk out of here, right? Now, are you ready for a different marriage? Because it's going to be a better marriage, but it's going to be a different marriage. And I think in some ways I so clung on to the past of what I wanted it to be. Like, if we could just get back there. But there was no getting back there, you know? It was about... And I think this doesn't just go for romantic relationships or marriages, you know, I think it also goes for friendships. I think it also goes for work relationships, family relationships specifically, you know. We're talking about parents or siblings, you know, or our own children, or, you know, it's like, if we could just get back to when the times were good, if we could just get, well, those times are over, okay? They're not coming back. So it's about working through the pain, the grieving of what it was like to lose that, right? So now I know that that relationship is never going to be the way that it was before, and I've accepted that, right? Like, I can look at that and I can go, okay, it's probably never going to be that way again. I'm changed, they're changed, it's different time, there's been a lot of time, things have happened that I just can't look past, things have happened that they can't just look past. So we're in a different relationship now about this. What are we going to do? Are we going to go our separate ways? And I'm talking about any relationship, right? Are we going to go our separate ways? Are we going to, you know, or are we going to choose to let go of that sadness and say we can create a new relationship? And that was what was really cool about our marriage counseling, you know, was that we were able to define what that was going to look like, you know, and keep the things we wanted to keep and let go of the things we wanted to let go of. And I think about that in a lot of my relationships, you know, that I have grieved so many like friendships, work situations, hotel rooms, apartments that I've left. You know, I really, like, my first office that I ever had, like, I can remember leaving there, and it was like, I've talked about that on my vlog, it was such a painful experience. I literally went through, like, I think the stages of grief over this office, because it wasn't just an office to me, it represented an era, it represented a period of time in my life, you know, that was never going to be the same again, and I was moving on. It's kind of a funny story, because the night that I was moving from that office, you know, that office reminded me of old friends and my, you know, ex and my mother, because she had passed away after that and all this kind of stuff. And because, you know, they would stop by and they had helped me move in and all this kind of stuff. And the day that I was supposed to move into my new office, I wanted it to be this like laborious, long thing, right? Where I was like really sad and emotional all day long, and I just sat there and I took my time. Tucker jumped up here and went right through the ring light. So anyway, the day that I was going to move, you know, about this Maroon 5 concert, I was like, now look, he's right here. Oh, there, please don't go into the ring light. Anyway, you know, I was really sad about the whole thing. I had been there for a long time. It was like where I started, you know, it meant a lot to me. And like, you know, my landlord had decided to sell the building, and he was having a lot of personal stuff going on. And I loved this guy. You know, he was like the kind of landlord that you imagine, you know, and it was this old house that was split up into like 4, you know, offices. And I was the only one left. Everybody else had left like months before, you know, because they saw the writing on the wall. And I didn't. I was like on a stage on the very, very bitter end. And so we went to that concert that night. We had like the best time in our lives, you know, that concert. And it was like 2 or 3 days later, and I was sitting in my office, in my new office, and I had the windows open, and it was like, it was sometime, I think, like in the fall or something, I can't remember, maybe spring, and there was like this art gallery walk, because where my office is, there's like this, like, it's very artsy, and there's bars and restaurants and stuff, and I'm on the second floor. And so I looked down over all of that, and I had my windows open, and it felt like I was like in Soho in New York City. And I had never felt that, even though I was only 2 blocks away, you know? And so I was like walking around, or I was like walking around my office, like looking out the windows. I could hear people talking outside and stuff, and I had some candles lit. And I felt good, you know? And I was starting to move through the process of grieving. Like, we can even grieve a place, you know? And I remember it was the next day I had to meet with my old landlord and take him the keys. And I stood outside, and I handed him the keys. I could see him there in my head. And he looked at me, and he said, "We had a good run, didn't we?" We sure did. And, you know, like, wow, it still makes me sad to this day, you know? But I think that that's what life is about, is those memories, you know, and all of those things, you know, that make up our life. And it doesn't make me sad today. It makes me happy that I was able to experience such things, but I have such strong feelings associated with it, you know, that when I look back and I see that, I think to myself, I have really had such an amazing, wonderful life filled with wonderful people. And at times it always hasn't been, at times it hasn't always been easy. At times it has been sad. It has been tragic, you know. But today I can let go of a lot of that, and I can embrace the good times, and I can look at those things with fondness and memory and go, we had a good run, you know. I have had a very, very good run. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.